Hello, this is Matt Butler, and we're going to talk about intercompany purchasing and sales. So there is a package that we'll be installing, but before we do so, what we're going to do is set up some preliminary things, such as a segmented key for our intercompany sites. So we'll go ahead and just go to keys, find that. Go into the menu, we can open it in a tab here, and we're already here, so we'll just make sure that we're refreshed and see. What we did was created IC site. This is important. That's what the code expects to find. And then I'm just going to name it company ID, and I gave it a segment of the same name, and just for flexibility, no breakdown of segments or anything like that. There's uppercase, Unicode, whatever your conventions are. What you're going to be storing here is a combination of the company key and the branch code so that you can easily identify each one. So moving on, one of the processes that we perform is to automatically create sales orders in our target from purchase orders. And when we do so, what we want to do is automatically grab the sales order number and send it back to the purchase order. So what we did was we went ahead and we went into automation steps again. Just start typing. Here we got some automation steps here. I'm just going to right click, new tab, and here I am. So in automation steps, I'm going to select the field, and then I'm going to pick my table name, the purchase order. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find my vendor reference. So the vendor reference on the purchasing side is the sales order number on the sales side on the other end, and vice versa. What you'll find is in the sales order, we'll also be booking those sales orders with the purchase order as the reference number in the sales order. So you can easily see the relationship between the two. So having done that, what we're going to do then is we're going to take that package, and I've already imported it, so we went ahead and published it. If you have multiple companies and you want to run this, you're going to want to publish to multiple companies. Okay, and so that's pretty standard stuff. Nothing magic about it. So once that's in, before you start putting together the relationships between customers and vendors or companies and your other companies, what you're going to want to do is come into the chart of accounts and set up the accounts, basically the tab, as an asset between the two companies. In this case, I have US, Canada, and Mexico. So here I'm in the US. So we're in the US right now, right? And what I want to do, and for simplicity, I copied this, so I have Canada and Mexico, but I made it inactive. But you can see we've got the US and Canada, US and Mexico, and on the accounts, they don't have to be the same in each company. You could have completely different chart of accounts. This is just for the local companies. So when I go to my other companies, you'll see the same thing in my example, but this could easily be any number at all because the configuration is tied to the vendor or customer, so or the payment method. Having said that, we created our chart of accounts here, and what we'll do next is we'll go ahead and we're going to set up a cash account against each of those because we actually want to pay and receive monies through intercompany rather than actual money transfers. Now, it's not to say that you can't do a cash transfer and perform like an ACH or something, a transfer via the banking system, and credit or debit this account to even up, forget the term, but that would be what we would set up. So for each of the GL accounts, I want a corresponding cash account that matches it. Now I only need these two here, but again I copied it, this one. We'll go ahead and say the United States company does not need the Canadian-Mexican intercompany, so I'm just going to go ahead and make that inactive. Oh, it's been too long. So we'll reload that, and we'll go ahead and Canadian-Mexico. Make that inactive. Okay. So again, we have our our intercompany cash accounts, which will serve for our payment methods. Okay. So now that we have a GL account to have our tab amongst one another or amongst ourselves here, we have our payment method. We're going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and just we'll get into our bank. We'll make our payment methods. Get to this screen. We'll make ourselves InterCo. Really, it's whatever you want to make it. IC, InterCo, whatever. It's just going to be a cash payment. We're going to call this intercompany AR and AP, and then we do want to allow our different intercompany cash accounts to exist for that particular one. So again, I'm in the U.S., so I don't need to enable the relationship between Canada and Mexico. They can manage that within their own instance. I guess it doesn't like that. Okay, so we'll just get rid of it. So we have the U.S. and Canada, the U.S. and Mexico. This could be 2. This could be 2, 20, whatever. However many different intercompany relationships you need to manage. Now, from the perspective of setting that relationship up now, you can set up a vendor class if you want, and go ahead and default to like an intercompany, if you want. And if you're doing more than a few, like you may, that's probably a good idea. I went ahead and just directly set up my Canada company in the U.S. here. It's got the cash account, as you can see, the U.S. and Canada cash account. Now, if I were to go to the Canadian company, this would basically look identical here. I would have the same InterCo, and I would have the same relationship, a cash account that related to the GL account that was my tab between the two. So I made this real simple on myself. IC for intercompany, and then I'm going to do CA. If we go ahead and look in here, yeah. So I have IC Canada, Mexico, and then for posterity, again, IC US. That's actually unnecessary here because I'm in the US. And what you're going to want to do to speed through this is, once you have this all set up, we go and we, it's not highlighted because I've already done it, but we're going to extend to customer. And what that does for me is gives me same record, but it's now a customer as well. And this is because unless it's one way, you may be purchasing from or selling to. So you're going to want both a customer and vendor relationship for that ID. And they don't have to be the same ID, but again, for simplicity, it helps simple minds like my own. So we go ahead and we make sure that we default this guy because he's only going to be used between the U.S. and Canada. We're going to go ahead and set up his payment method, and that's real easy. We're going to add payment method, and then I'm just going to add InterCo, and it's active, and I'm going to make sure that I'm using my cash account that is, again, that tab between the two. And you're pretty much set up. You're ready to start moving forward. With every site, you're going to want to set up first the local site, and the local site is me. So I'm in the U.S. right now, so I coded these as the company key found in the tenants screen. The tenants are U.S., the keys are U.S., MX, and CA for United States, Mexico, and Canada, and then the branch codes, Corp. So that's how I coded them. So if you have multiple branches, you could be U.S. Corp, U.S. West, U.S. whatever. And then I'm going to give it a meaningful name because I'm not going into the branches underneath these right now. They're just Canada, Mexico, and the United States. And then this can be the local instance. This can be the instance you're hosting in Europe or Antarctica or wherever. You obviously want it to be active. And then I'm going to give it my login, the company I'm logging into, the branch I'm logging into, and then the password. So I'm going to use the password to go ahead and put that in. This should come up by default, but if it does not, you can see exactly what it's supposed to be. And this is just the Acumatica ships with, this is the genius stuff that they came up with, so we can easily move from version to version. So this is going to dictate that nice versioning as we move forward. Okay, so we've set up our site. So now what we need to do is set up some business accounts. So when we look up our business accounts, when we set up our business accounts, we've got a few things to take into consideration. The very first business account that needs to be considered is this one. And you're not usually used to seeing this, but you're actually looking for your company. So in this case, our company is the corporate U.S. Company, and this is the company code we assigned to the United States headquarters. So I'm just going to go to that, and so let's show you that really quick. Sorry if I'm jumping around. So what you see here is I'm just coding to my company ID, and this is basically, let's go to the U.S. Okay, so this is the United States, and I'm looking at the site ID, and those sites are the ones you would set up in that last step. So U.S. Corp and what URL and login and everything just maps right to that business account, and that's the from, that's the me. Here am I, and so the only thing you need to do is list out who you are. It does require a remote account ID, although you're not doing any actions, so this is superfluous just for this one step. It does have to be set to active. And then let's take a look, for example, in Canada. So in Canada, we're looking at the account code for Canada. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to find my customers or my vendors. In this case, I'm setting up as the sender. So when I call for anything to go out to Canada, they should recognize me as ICUS. And you can note there's not a selector here because we have not implemented looking up all the account codes from the other site, but you can freeform type in whatever you put in the other site. So if this is in another language, whatnot, you can put whatever you need to here. Then, of course, the site ID, this is me. So the site ID is always who I am. And then I'm going to have some differing operations. For this example, I'm only showing a couple, the to and from on purchasing and shipments. There's also, let's reorder this so it's easier to read. Let's make that 3. Okay. So, so it's going to operate in the order for whatever type you're doing. So if I'm doing a normal PO here, I'm going to have step 1, step 2, and the numbers actually they're just sequential, so it's easier to read that way, but it could be 9, 10, 11. So what we have here is a PO that I'm telling, when I use the Canadian vendor, I want to associate a normal PO to this vendor to go to my California corporate, or my Canadian corporate, sorry. And that just means Canadian corporate means I'm going to another site. Now, I'm showing all out of the same site. If you are doing multiple sites, this package, the package does need to be installed in every site that is participating, at least participating in sending things. If, for example, you are only sending things one way, you can get away with not installing it, but that would sort of defeat the purpose of the two-way, the handshake going back and forth. So here we are on, let's see, here we are on the steps. So I'm looking at the destination sites here for PO normal. I'm going to make an SO, and then I'm going to make a payment. So I want, every time I make a PO in the United States corporation to the IC, the Intercompany Canada vendor, I want to create an SO and a payment associated with it. Okay? So now, if on the return side, if, for example, Canada sent me a purchase order and I created a sales order, what would happen then is, when I create a shipment, I also have it instructed to create a PO receipt with the associated shipment and tracking number and put it on hold. So that's basically my acknowledgement that it's on its way, but it is on hold until receipt of goods, etc. And the shipment information, the quantities, are all matched up and sent on the on-hold receipt. So if I order 10 and they can only send me 5 today, I'll get a PO receipt on hold for 5. And when it comes in, I already have my receipt ready. I just need to go find it, check it against my sales or PO number or my tracking number. I go find it and just confirm that everything is received. Okay. So let's see. So we had some POs. Maybe we can find a PO or two. I clearly set a couple up here. Maybe we could try and find one or two. Just set them up. So what we're going to do is US. I'm in Canada. Let's stick with the U.S. first. We'll show the back and forth in a moment. Let's take a look. Okay, so what I have is Mexico, Canada. Okay, so why don't we do 95 and 94? We've got the relationship with Mexico from the U.S. and the relationship with Canada. So let's try that. Okay, so it says it's on hold. I don't need 175,000 items. Simple. Buy a couple computers. I'm just going to buy 2 computers. So I've got my 2 computers. And so in the background, let's see. In the background here, we have a purchase order on hold, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the process screen for Intercompany. So here is my process screen in Intercompany, and I've added that to both the sales order, I believe, and the purchasing, just Intercompany transactions. But what I have is nothing, right? That's by design, because nothing's happened yet. Now I'm going to take this off a hold, and this is pending approval, okay? So we're going to save this And once again, nothing. Now, the moment I approve this, so now it's an open PO, okay? And one of the things you should note is it's open, but we've opened up in that first step, we added vendor reference. So that's because when this ships, I want to be able to update the vendor reference while this is still open. So it's open. I'm going to go ahead and leave this field open so that when we book this as a sales order, the sales order number will come over here. So now if I come back and look at this screen, what I see is PO 795. And what you see is, oh, you know what? I need you to make, I guess I picked I picked Mexico. Okay. So I want you to make an SO with Mexico, and I also want you to go ahead and assign the intercompany payment, right? So, and that's coming straight from the order here. Here. So we told it, Mexico. Okay. So we told it as well as we did in Canada. We told Mexico, when you make a normal PO to ICMX, and let's just go to the purchase order. Yes, ICMX, right? What we want to see is an SO order and an AR payment to assign to it. So now I have an intercompany transaction waiting. We can add to the schedule. We're going to process this real time so you can see it. So let's see. We probably need what? I think we had another purchase order we're targeting. Okay, Canada. All right. So for Mexico, what did we do? We did 95 was 2 Acer laptops. Okay, so I'm going to go to Canada. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to Acer 2. Simplicity. I don't need $750,000. Okay, so I'm going to order 3 Acer laptops here. Okay, so now I've got Canada and pending approval. And again, nothing showing up here for Canada yet. See, we have Mexico, but we do not have Canada. As soon as I approve it, I now have an open PO for Canada, and with the same, we put the same exact rules in for both. And if I refresh this now, I have both Canada and Mexico set up to create SOs and payments for those SOs. So let's set that aside for a little bit. All right, so I'm in Canada right now. And let's see, our latest sales order is $43.69. So knowing that, and knowing that I have a sales order coming for Canada, I should expect to see the next number, whatever the next number is in sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this tab so we can also look at Mexico. That's also important. So let's just go ahead and go back. And again, before doing any of this, let's see, 4364 completed. Okay, so before doing any of that, let's just make sure that in this case, receivables, we're going to look at our customer and IC for simplicity. Cool. When I'm using ICUS, do I have everything set up right? Let's just make sure. Okay, I have a payment method. Let's view that payment method. Because it was copied, I want to make sure, okay, this is in the Mexico company, so I'm going to actually say that this is to the U.S. and Mexico, save and close. All right, so that's in the right place. We come over here in Canada. I'm just going to make sure of that. Receivables, customers. And we'll get rid of those in a minute, but I just want to see beforehand. So IC Canada should be set up right. I'm sorry, IC US actually. IC US should be set up right. It's probably where we copied and pasted, 19500. I know that's correct, but I'm going to show you. Here we have 19500, the account between the United States and Canada. So on the vendor and the customer side, we're using the same account. If you don't use the same accounts, when you roll up your financials, you'll have to translate that so that they should zero one another when you consolidate all financials. So good. So the customer screens, will kill those off and get over to here, and we've got we've got our 4369 in Canada, and we've got our 4364. So when I'm done here, and I'm going to go ahead and just process all. And what it's doing right now is looking through the list and then actually logging into itself and then logging into the other instances, no matter what they are, whether they're local or not. And it's going to read from one, send to the other. And most of the magic as far as accounting that's going on is actually happening in the configuration we set up. So it's running through. It's running through, and it's made a SO order and a payment for that SO in Canada. So while it's still chugging along, let's go ahead and go to this. Oh, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's duplicate that tab again. And let's go to Canada in this one. Yep. Okay. All right, so I'm in Canada now, and it turns out, oh, I had a lot going on here, didn't I? Okay, so if I open this up, let's look at this one. Probably a past test, but I'm interested. 762 purchase order. Yeah, we're way off. Okay, so I'm going to the proper one now. I just wanted to see that I'm giving everyone the real deal here. So I'm going to open up the latest sales order in Canada, mind you. So I'm now working in the Canadian company, and this could easily be another instance, but for simplicity again. And we have this sales order, 4370, or this PO number, 794. And we have the Acer laptop, okay? And then, let's see. Get rid of my arrow here. We have our Acer laptop, and it looks like it's done there. It's done, yes, okay. So here's our purchase order in the U.S. to Canada, right? So I ordered 3, okay? Canada, so 794 relates to 794, right? Decided to refresh it. So here's my 4370 to my 4370. So these are in separate companies. Again, anywhere in the world. And what we have is corresponding sales order to purchase order to sales order. If I go to the sales order and I look at payments, I have the payment, right? So one of the things I want to note is the pricing. If you look closely at these, my purchase order, $250 a piece for $750. But again, this is using the unit price for sales. If you want to change that to be equal, so that you're not making money on one another, you would go about that by going to your sales prices, and you would set up pricing. You would set up pricing for that item for that customer, right? You could inversely set up the equal vendor pricing on the other side as well. We are working on a sync that allows you to decide whether or not you want to add that for inventory items. That is something we are looking at releasing in the very near future. So because I want everything to match, I'm going to go ahead and zip this down. Yeah, we know it's not satisfied us because we're not trying to make money off of ourselves. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Ooh, I guess I should probably fix that if I'm reducing the price by 50%. Okay, so just a warning, letting you know you're not making gross profit. Okay, so what we have here is a sales order along with a corresponding payment. And if I look at this payment, it is intercompany going against my cash account. It's the tab between companies. Okay. So no actual monies are being moved physically, but the receipting and the disbursement and receipt of those dollars is being recorded in that intercompany account. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Then we have here the Mexico side, 4364, and we have 4365 with the United States. Same sort of thing. What we have is a document for 2. Again, I'm going to change this to our standard pricing and change our payment amount. Probably not doing this right. No, I'm probably not. Yep. Let's go to the payment. Let's fix the payment. So it's a $500 payment. Just to apply 500. Save. Okay. Yep. There. That was the proper way to do it, by the way. Not the way I did it the first time. Let's fix this because we don't want to balance on that either. Just to apply. It's good to see these problems in real time. So let's look at the. That's the payment. Okay. So our payment. Zero balance. Save. Okay. Okay, so this can be released through the standard processing screens. This is obviously going to get shipped. So I'm going to go ahead and, because this is getting to be a long video, we're just going to ship one here. Let's ship Canada. So what I'm going to do is, we ordered 3. Okay, so I'm going to create a shipment. Okay, sure. Okay, and let's see. To the United States, and I'm going to want to ship 2. I only had 2 today. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go in my packages. I'm going to confirm it, and we're just going to say 1Z, and then let's give it, let's see, it's the Canadian order, so let's give it, just for posterity, so we can see. Okay. So I'm going to save that. Actually, I'm going to confirm that. But before I do that, so let's, I'm in Canada, good. Okay, so I'm in Canada. I'm going to refresh this. Nothing here. I'm going to go ahead and on the shipment. Okay, so I'm on the shipment, right? I'm going to go ahead and just confirm it. And so now this is a confirmed shipment, ready to go. I'm apparently not good at this. 1, let's see. Okay, so let's save that. This is my 2. Yes, my 2. Now I'll confirm it. Okay. So it's confirmed. Let's see. Intercompany transactions. Oh, these were the ones that were done. This is the U.S. Okay, good. So over here. So here I am in Canada, my Canadian company. And lo and behold, I have a shipment from Canada that's supposed to create a PO receipt, right? And so 1875 corresponds to that shipment number, 1875, okay? So if I come over here and look at my purchase order, I should have no receipts, and I do not, okay? So my purchase order has no receipts. My sales order now has a shipment in Canada. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let the intercompany, so here's an intercompany in Canada run. So we'll run that, okay? And the expectation is that this is going to check off and little green or happy smiley face icon, whatever we got going on here. And when this is done, my expectation is a transaction process. So now, if I go back and look at the shipment, let's see, I had 2, right? If I come back and look at my purchase order, I have a purchase receipt, and you'll notice total quantity of 2. So if I open this purchase order, my document details, I ordered 3, but I only have 2, right? Perfect. So it's on hold because that is really just signifying that this sales order from Canada, from us to Canada, has this master tracking number. It's always going to return the tracking number from the first package in the shipment. But now I know what I'm looking for. When it comes in, I should be able to find this purchase receipt, confirm that everything is good, and go ahead and take it off of hold. And then we're going to go ahead and create the bill right here. And I'm going to release it. Perfect.